Yo, what's up, everybody? How you guys doing? I hope you can hear us properly. By the meter, it sounds like you can. This is our first episode of Rewind and Replay. This is for SunsetNerdVerse, my website. I wanted to do something for fun and just to get it out there because I really don't see this type of content out there as that much. I mean, I do hear it in podcasts and some stuff in some ways, but it's it's not what I like. So I'm doing it. Something that I like with the films that I like. And I hope I can share that and fill the void with all these other podcasters out there because and this is my lovely wife, Liz.
Hello.
She's gonna be joining me just for like commentaries and like her input on the movies that we're gonna watch because quite frankly I kind of force her to watch them.
Yes he does.
I do. I just go out there and I'm like, baby, we're gonna watch a movie. She's like, oh, okay, what movie? And I'm all like, you'll see.
And then I roll my eyes.
And then she rolls her eyes. I don't blame her.
They're old.
I'm like that. Yeah, she says, she doesn't like old things. It's weird. It's really weird. There's no appreciation.
I like new things. Onward and upward.
Onward and upward is her saying. Okay, so in this episode that we're doing, this little thing that I have, we're going to be going over some movies and just kind of reminiscing. And with the whole point of rewind and replay, we're going to, go back into the history of the film. We're going to check it out. We're going to give our point of views. And then we're going to decide whether, if this still is relevant, if it still hits, if it's still like something that you could re-release in the theater and get like good money for it and all that stuff, like as if it was being released for the first time, a revival theory going on here, I guess, because I mean, if this is a successful video and you guys enjoy it, then I mean, this is already kind of like a petition.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this. All right, so a quick tease of what we're going to be doing. The movie that we're going to be going over and checking out from the past is Dick Tracy. I am not sure if any of you know who Dick Tracy is. It's a comic from the 1920s or 30s, I believe. It's a really old comic. It's a detective crime comic, so those are pretty popular coming out back in the day. I think it was like around the same time that that Batman was conceived, or the idea was coming up, because it was just like a really popular genre happening in the world at that time. So Dick Tracy, a little bit about it, is a vibrant pulp fantasy that brings comic panels to life with bold colors, big villains, and even bigger ambitions. And for the time that it released, it had some ambitions, I'll tell you. Just to reiterate on the comic panels and the boldness that's in this film, is like, it's a really good representation of a comic adaptation. It's awesome. We'll get more into it a little later, but yeah, it's just great. I really like it a lot.
It is pretty good.
All right, and so a little bit about the film is it's Dick Tracy. It was released in 1990, premiered June 10th in DC as its premiere, and then its US release was June 15th in 1990. The director was Warren Beatty, who's also a producer and the star, and that wasn't originally the decision, but we'll get into that later. The writers are Jim Cash and Jack Epps Jr., this was based on Chester Gould's 1930s comic strip. So, there you go. So if you want to check it out, go check out Chester Gould's Dick Tracy. For the genre, it is a crime, action, drama, stylized comic strip adaptation. Its runtime is around 105 minutes or an hour and 45 minutes. A little bit into that later too, because it wasn't originally supposed to be that. It's a box office premiere budget or gross sales that it made. Well, the budget was $46 million to $47 million, and then its gross sales that it made globally was $162.7 million. So for the 1990s, that was a lot of freaking money, to tell you the truth. Like, in this economy,
and what a success!
That's like, I don't know,
3 times the cost.
Yeah, it was a lot of money. And it had a lot of commercial success, so they were promoting it and marketing it very well back in the day. So it was really good. See, the critic reception of all this, overall, it had mixed to favorable reviews when it first came out. And honestly, that's kind of the same how it is now. But there's not that many people, really, they haven't really seen it. Or if they do see it, you go in and they probably put it on a pedestal, and you have like these expectations for it and all that stuff. But then you have to understand is that this film was pretty much like the pioneering film of the style, and that did it right too. So like this is proof. All right, now a little quick summary of the movie. The movie's setting is in 1938. The detective Dick Tracy confronts mob king Big Boy, who's played by Al Pacino, Big Boy Caprice, while juggling romantic complexities with Breathless Mahoney, who is played by Madonna, and Tess Trueheart, who was another girl. I forgot her name. She didn't really do a lot of acting back in the day, but this was one of her films that she became well known for. Glenn Headley was her name, Tess Trueheart. So like that was Dick Tracy's girlfriend in the movie, but of course was having the love interest, but of course was having some romance complications with Madonna's character, who is Breathless Mahoney. The femme fatale, yes, indeed, indeed. That was so leaving off there from the romance, and Dick Tracy later becomes the guardian to a street orphan known as Kid. And this actor, whose name is Charlie Corsmo, he has been in a few other movies, but Dick Tracy was like one of his very popular films that he was known for. And then there were some other films that he actually kind of did. He was almost like Short Round and Indiana Jones. Like Short Round was like known for Indiana Jones, and then did some other things, but didn't really like pick up from there. Until now again, he had the longest second wind ever in history. Like wow, it was. He said that he had still kept like doing martial arts and like practicing and trying to do things here and there. And then when he got the pick for the role, Everything Everywhere All at Once, boom, shot him through the roof. His fame came back like strong too.
But not this guy so much.
Unfortunately, Charlie Corsmo. But we still love him. He's a great. He does
really. It's the character. He does really well.
Yeah, he does really good. He does really well with the character. Okay, and now moving on, we're going to do a little historical content about the movie so you guys get to know about it, and then we're going to get into our feedback, our opinions about the movie. So what made this movie stand out at the time was its bold attempt to visually replicate the comic strip, because again, we'll get in a little later, Warren Beatty was very adamant about making this film become, as exact as the source material could be. Like he really wanted it to be a true adaptation, canon, as one would say. Because of the bold color palettes of the live action, it was limited to a set hue coloring that was actually made by Warren Beatty. He only selected a few sets of colors to use throughout, and
to match the comic, right? They were the exact tones.
Yeah, to match the comics. Like I guess that was easy enough for two, and it was a good ground rule too for the designers. It's all like you only have these colors to work with. Here's the setting from the comic strip. This is what you should be designing. Make it work, and they fucking did.
Well, because even comics back then had a very limited color palette.
This is true because printing machines couldn't produce that color. They couldn't print it. I guess there are certain pigments that they couldn't get back in the day, and so especially for it to be mass produced and used in a comic that was gonna be printed like en masse. Like, oh man. So yes, so that was it. But because of that decision, it was strikingly stylistic, and it was a great choice by Warren Beatty. Okay, now as far as its flops in the box office when it first released, it had a strong debut. It grossed over triple its budget, so that was obviously, on paper, a success. But, it didn't really receive that much in the theater from the fans. Okay, but solidifying financial success despite, divided critical opinion. So, when you have this type of movie that's probably going against Godfather, because believe it or not, I think Godfather came out
at the same year?
No. It came out, I think, like 10 years before that. And then Godfather had kind of set the mood for other movies like seriousness, dark or getting that hook of some sort of crime. Because like it was mainly like mob and crime and other things back in the day and stuff. So this one was definitely kind of like out of left field, just coming from that scene. Still being crime, but, comic style.
With the comic book twist.
Yeah. So so the critics were kind of confused. The interesting thing was that it wasn't too unfamiliar because a year before, Tim Burton's Batman was released, and that was amazing.
Very true to the comic, I think.
That one was pretty damn true to the comic too. Because I mean, you had the characters and they had you still had the old style of film creation, of use of prosthetics and makeup and clothing that was just all you had, because you didn't really have like CGI. You had like image overlaying that they could do with illusions and stuff like that, like the old time ways.
But it was dark too.
And that was dark too.
And then the bright colors and the Joker and stuff, very similar.
Bright colors,
Tracy kind
the bold setting, something that is not realistic, and a lot of people at that time were pretty much into like the realism of films. So Batman kind of helped, but it didn't meet the same expectations as Batman. So it's again, its buzz when it first came out wasn't that great, but it was a nice addition,
boost, I guess.
It was a nice boost. Yeah. So that was pretty good. And then as far as its fan base particularly, it was praised for visual flair, production design, makeup, and performances, especially from Al Pacino and Madonna. They did a really good job. And then as far as the true or fans that have a mind of their own and all that stuff, it was still criticized for its thin screenplay and character development. So for it being a comic, especially if you're a fan, you want to know more about the characters. But Hollywood, there's only so much you could do, especially when you have a certain runtime for a film and you have to cram in like as much as you can. It's a pain in the ass. A little more about that a little later too. Okay, now as far as our personal take on all of this, would you like to go first?
No, you go
first. All right. All right, so we have some questions here that I came up with. I gave some to Liz, so the same ones, so that we could see what our opinions are about the movie, especially since I forced her to watch it.
Rewatch it. I had seen it
okay,
before.
we'll rewatch it, but there was awesome surprise in that too, because little did I know she was
we'll get into that a little later, like he says.
Little did I know. All right, so then did we love or hate this? Now, personally, I love it. I loved it when I saw it as a kid, and I still love it today. And I just love its adaptation. Like it's trueness to the source material as much as possible, which is really good. I mean, characters, storyline was something that you can argue about, but it was a good representation. Like it popped out. It was like a film literally from the comics. It's like you just take it and put it in film, and it was great. I really liked it a lot. I also love the acting. The acting was pretty damn good. You had a lot of A-listers in that movie. Like William Forsythe got that was one of his first films. Like he I don't know if you know who William Forsythe is, but he was in Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo. He was that detective that's always grinding him and being showing him his showing him his penis.
Okay, yeah, I know.
And being all what do you think about this? And he's like, oh God, what are you talking about? It's that's this weird little mole on.
Yeah.
It was funny. So that was him. He played Flat Top in this movie. I thought that was great. It was awesome.
Oh wow! I didn't even realize that was him.
Yeah, well, the prosthetics. The prosthetics. They hide a lot, and there was so many. And you had Dustin Hoffman was in that too.
Yeah.
Al Pacino, obviously. Madonna was in it. Warren Beatty was in it, and then there were some other really known actors that I can't remember their names because they're older gentlemen and now have since passed, obviously. So it's been a while. But if you go through the cast listing on either Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb, you can see a lot of old school actors were in this film. But because a lot of the characters in the comic strip were old mobsters, they were old guys. It wasn't really a young thing that they were doing back in the day.
No.
Because the older you are, the more respect. So that was kind of the representation they had in the film.
Well, and also I think because comics were originally not necessarily for kids. Those comics.
Those types were the crime ones. Yeah, they were for grown-ups, straight up. Yeah, they sure were.
They were graphic novels, actually.
Graphic novels. They were the first version of graphic novels, but mainly the storyline because it was dark.
So that's where it was darker.
And so besides the A-listers and the great acting and all that stuff, the costume design, all the colors, the boldness, the oversizedness of the suits, it was zoot suit style or something like that. It was kind of like that, or the Pachucos. It was almost kind of like that too. Maybe not as flashy, but because of the bold colors, it did seem pretty flashy. It was really nice.
Yeah.
I like those a lot.
Okay, well, I agree. Like the things that I loved as a kid, I did watch this movie many times as a kid. I liked it a lot because of the bright colors. Not bright, like deep. They're not really bright
Bold,
as much as they're bold
deep,
and deep.
vivid.
And so that always caught my eye a lot as a kid, and I really, really enjoyed it. The prosthetics made the characters look so comic booky that I loved that. It just did, like you said before, it was a comic book turned into real life, and I always thought that that was really cool as a kid. And I still really enjoyed that in the movie. Like I was a big fan of Batman already. Like you mentioned, that it had already come out. I was already a Batman fan, so I think I was one of those people, even though I was a kid, that really enjoyed Dick Tracy for it kind of being similar to that, but different, in a different way. And the fact that it was set in a different time, and the costumes and the colors and the outfits that were so like old-timey, and the characters' faces and all of that, it's just so extreme. Right?
Yeah.
It's so out there, and it's just something that I still enjoy. I like it a lot. Like,
Yeah.
And I like blocky comic book looking movies. Like still, like to this day, like Sin City was something that I really enjoyed for the visuals of it, which reminds me a lot of Dick Tracy. And I guess Scott Pilgrim's another one. But then all of the Batman movies, not all of them, but most of the Batman movies have that kind of comic book feel.
They do.
And I still like stuff like that. Excuse me. Nowadays, like some of the Spider-Man movies have kept they're a little brighter. You know, perkier and brighter. But my point is they bring the comic book to the screen, and it looks like the comic book, and it has like the little, you know, it just makes you feel like you're watching a comic book happen in real life. And that was really cool, and I still love it. So all of that, the exaggerated costumes and the sizes, the colors, the makeup, the women are so like extremely stylized. It's so extra in a good way to me.
I agree. Yeah, everything that I said, just said differently and probably more pumped.
And I didn't really care
more.
so much about the A-listers back then because I didn't understand it. And right now, I mean, it's pretty cool to see Madonna again now as a grown-up, having seen her go through her whole career and seeing her now and being like, man, look at her then. You know, just kind of seeing that. But even still, I mean, it could have been anyone. Al Pacino is just still shocking to me. What a great job he does in this movie. And yeah, I think them two are probably like my favorites. Well,
Right.
and then we'll get into something else that I enjoy later. But yeah, that's my take. And that's what I still love about it. I always love the same things. And to me, I still love those things about it.
Nice. Well, I'm all about that. So I'm actually kind of happy that she liked it because and then she's seen it before too. So it was really cool. But really, like a little side note on that was when we were watching it, like she kind of had like this epiphany of like, oh my God, this movie, like I remember this movie and I remember liking it a lot and all this stuff. So I was like, oh,
I mean, I knew
great.
I had seen it, but once we were watching it, it's like, oh yeah, I watched it a lot. Actually, I didn't remember that I had watched it so much or that I was so into it until we rewatched it, and I was like, oh yeah. Like I vividly remember specific scenes from that movie still to this day, but I hadn't even thought about them until we watched it again. It's like, oh my God, I remember all these scenes and things that were part of even my childhood and life and we would bring up. And so it's pretty cool.
I agree. All right, so thank you. And then moving on.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about whether, you know, it visually, emotionally, and narratively still kind of holds up. And personally for me, it does. I honestly think it still holds up. The storyline is still true to the crime world. When you have a hotshot cop going after the big boy, pun intended. You know, with that, it's visually striking too for its time. I like it so much. I can't stress that enough. I personally think, you know, the movie is like a masterpiece, but you know, if you do watch the movie, it is remastered, so it looks really good. Because we saw a trailer, like one of the original trailers, untouched, and man, like it is dated.
Yeah.
So when you watch it, the remastered version, it's like they remade it. It looks really, really good. So I like that a lot. And then because of the remastering, you know, and it being in high def, the colors come out better. It's just so much crisper and more vivid, and it matches, and the themes are great. It's and then like if you watch it now in this day and age with all the MCU movies or the DCU movies coming out, like this one's but yeah, what about you?
Yeah, actually, quick note on the characters. You mentioned something about the characters, and it reminded me that one thing I do love, and I think still holds up just because it's always great to me, at least as someone who likes puns and things like that, I love how obvious the names of the characters are. Like,
Yes.
like I just love that. Like Dick Tracy. Dick was short for detective, so that's like so literal, right? And then you have Breathless Mahoney because she's like
so
the sultry one
hot
that's
and
always
stuff
talking like this. So she's
Breathless.
And then Trueheart is like the good girl, right? Tess Trueheart. And like Big Boy is the bad boy, and then Mumbles literally mumbles, and like all these things. It's like it's just so good. Flat Top
has a flat fucking head.
Literal. Yeah. It's just I love it. It's just gorgeous. Chef's kiss. It's one of my favorite things too. Besides the visuals. So I think that holds up still. And visually, yes, like you were saying, it definitely has that feel of, like we were saying, you know, comic book, like the way that now it's a thing. Back then it wasn't a thing. It was only the second movie that tried to do the comic book to life thing. But now it's so common that I think it actually holds up even better than it ever did because comic book movies are so in. Bright, bold, colorful, some dark, some like this, some realistic, all this stuff. And so I think it does definitely hold up to current standards. Especially because like what we were talking about, it's from the 90s, and to get all the effects and to get it to look and feel the way that it does, that's impressive. Like you could do a lot of those things now with CG, you know, just have someone with a black mask and little dots and just put everything in CG, but they did it from scratch. Like everything is done from scratch, and it's amazing and it's impressive. That's something I look at nowadays whenever he forces me to watch old movies. I do look at that.
Old like, cool movies.
Yeah, they are. And like I watch this and I'm like, and they did this from scratch. Like they didn't have CG, and it's just so impressive what they got away with, you know, and did and pulled off. And so this is one of those movies that I think is amazing. Again, another thing was the topics. I think narratively and topic wise, like you said earlier, crime is always going to be a topic because it's interesting. It's around, unfortunately, but it's fun because it's also something that it allows you to go to a place or put yourself in a character's position that you would not do or be in real life, and just kind of like see it from and it allows you to experience the crime life or the crime world without putting yourself in danger. So it's kind of cool, and it's always going to be around. I think that's why it also
Law and Order and all those other freaking shows. I mean,
exactly, crime, and then you have like the roles of the women and how they're seen and how they're treated, and like women trying to like survive in a man's world, which is also has been a topic and a theme. And so, but you know, the women do what they need to, and they stick to their guns, and I think that's also something that will also always be
Tess Trueheart and Breathless's characters are, you know,
they're iconic in their own way.
They're pretty damn strong characters, to tell you the truth. Like in their own ways, they're very, very strong, and you can totally see that, especially Madonna's character Breathless, because that one, you like later on in the film, and you find out she actually has like an alter ego that is more sinister, yet like for herself in this way, like she's like this character that kind of causes chaos or something like that from behind the scenes with the femme fatale. But then like no one knew it until like the very end, you know.
I mean, it's obvious because just by looking at her, if you know anything about old school comics and movies in noir, you know that she's gonna be
this is true, and it's because of her character.
And it's surprising though.
And her character's name is No Face, and quite literally has like no fucking face,
which is so cool.
It's trippy. It's really pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really badass. Okay, moving on. Favorite scenes or quotes?
So many.
Oh yeah, there are
So
quite a
many
bit.
for me.
Like mine's kind of like a two-parter in a sense, but it could be one really. It's a scene in the quote in itself, but it's more the quote. Is when they first find Kid, and he's like a homeless freaking orphan on the street, excuse me, and he's just like in the right place at the right time for a crime, so he becomes like a witness, and you know Dick Tracy's character or Dick Tracy in the movie and everything, he's all like, oh yeah, you know we got to keep this kid, and you know he can single out these people if he sees them again, and then that can like bring truth to you know what the crimes were happening, and prove him prove him conviction and everything, blah blah, you know, a detective's dream to get the big guy. And this kid apparently saw that. So when they first meet him and they hear about that, they're like, okay, well let's take care of him, and they went to go give him food first, and like, man, he was just,
Oh, poor thing.
he was a trash can. He was just inhaling everything and everything. And so that's part of it. That's like favorite scene I already like. And then soon after that, in that same scene, you know, like Dick Tracy kind of interrupts him and he's like, man, so what's your name, kid? And then he's like, Kid. I was like, your name's Kid? So like, yeah. He's like, you don't have another name? What's wrong with Kid? It's just like so assertive. Full mouth
eating
and eating the whole freaking time. It's just like, what the heck? You're just like, oh my god.
That is a good scene. Yeah,
It's a pretty good
cute.
scene. And then I guess anytime that Al Pacino's character seemed flustered in the movie Big Boy, he just seemed like,
Oh, yes. That's so good at that character. Like, I didn't even realize it was him, honestly, when we were watching it this last time. I didn't even realize it was him until later. You said something about Pacino. I was like, oh my God. I looked up the characters and I was like, oh, that's Al Pacino. Holy crap. That's crazy.
Right,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So how about you
pretty good.
for scenes or quotes?
Honestly, my favorite scenes that I even remembered always were Breathless singing scenes. Like they're so
yeah.
iconic and so classic, and so like they're sexy and sultry, and of course she has a great voice, and of course she has like this comic book body in the movie, and her outfits, the costumes. It's because the costumes in this whole movie are just amazing. And so the scenes in the club when she's singing are some of my favorite scenes in the whole movie because of that. And then it's even been recreated. Like one of the things that it reminded me this time that I watched it was another scene that I really remember a lot, and it's when Cameron Diaz sings the same way at the Coco Bongo at the mask. In the mask. And so it's basically the same thing, right? Sultry criminal girlfriend who is also the singer at the club. It's the same setup basically. And so I really like that a lot. And it made me realize that it's like, oh, I've always liked this, because it reminded me of The Mask, and that's another scene I really like from another movie. And then another one of my favorite scenes is when Mumbles, when they play back, like when he's like, right, he doesn't speak properly, and so they have his confession or whatever, and no one can understand it, and finally they play it back for him in front of him slow, and you can hear him confess Big Boy did it, and like he's like all proud because he's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, and as he hears that, he just like his face just changes from like, hell yeah, so much confidence to just terror. Like it's great. And
he actually starts crying. He starts crying.
He's like shaking, and he's just like, oh. And it's amazing. It's like such a great, because he's so confident, so like, you're not gonna get me. And then like the change in his face was just amazing on actor, what's his name? You just said his name.
Dustin Hoffman. Such a good job doing that. Like going from that, even with all that makeup and prosthetics, and you can see the reaction and the change in his face, and it's just great. Like I love that scene. Also because my dad used to use that phrase, like just to bother my mom and me. He would just like randomly come and say like, stop it. So he would do that?
He would do that.
I didn't know that. That's funny. That's funny.
So annoying. Yeah.
Mumble.
So I also have a fond memory attached to that scene. So
Oh,
it's funny.
okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay. Now moving on, we're gonna give our opinion on, you know, what aged well and what didn't. Yeah, considering this movie coming out, it, you know, I think this movie has, for me at least, and can make a full circle. Like it can come back and be as if it just was like a brand new idea released and people would love it. back in the day. So I really think that works because of like how how the film was handled, how it was filmed and received too. Because I mean, it could have easily been a crap movie for what it was, and it wasn't. It still had pretty good ratings and everything, just not like the best. But in budget wise, on paper, it was freaking phenomenal. You know, it was really, really good. So I honestly think, you know, because of the way the style is, that it still hits today. Everything about Dick Tracy aged well, I think, too. It's still true to today's kind of crime heroes, detectives, you know, people that always want to make a difference, go against the code sometimes because they get their way, which Dick Tracy kind of did here and there, but was more straight edged the entire time. So that's like that's something good to follow nowadays compared to like, you know, having someone where they're doing things right and, you know, occasionally break the rules here and there to get what they need, but then, you know, you really need to break the rules. So this movie kind of like shows that you don't need to, but there are some instances that, you know, when you get desperate, you kind of you kind of do something, you know. So it's very relevant. I think that's really good, and it still hits today in that sense. You know, you know, if there was like a re-release in theaters like other movies, you know, Star Wars A New Hope was just announced that it's being re-released in theaters like after 25 years, 30 years or something like that, or I don't know, my years might have been off on that, but anywho, it's being re-released, so like why not like do the same thing for Dick Tracy? That would be freaking cool, because I would think it would do good. I think it would actually make a huge comeback in that sense. And companies are, you know, to solidify that even more is like companies are re-releasing old school anime in theaters. You know, like a lot of the Hayao Miyazaki from Ghibli Studios, those movies are being re-released in theaters, and they do good. They have a huge following, but it's like I feel like maybe the industry should like focus on something like this. You know, pick those hidden gems from back in the day. If they need to do a consensus or focus group, do it. But I honestly think it should be something focused on that you should go for and bring it back. And I think I think that's what works.
That would be amazing. And then you could have like a showing of Dick Tracy, and then have people dress up. Like people would dress up.
Yeah,
I would dress up.
I would dress up too.
Like,
I'd go buy an oversized suit that's like all red or yellow or something like that. Like just one single bold color, because that's how the design is in the movie. So yeah, I think that's my opinion on why I think it still works today. And as far as anything that didn't work, I couldn't find anything.
Right. So this is what aged well, what didn't. I don't think anything didn't age well, especially because it's based in the 1930s. So it's like a very specific situation. However, in today's audience, I don't think that it didn't age well, but that there may be some things that some people won't take the way that they were meant. For example, Madonna's character, Breathless. She is objectified. Like, you will definitely have that reaction of, this is female objectification. It's all based on the male gaze, which is true because this was made in the 90s, and still nowadays we still see a lot of male gaze in film production. And so back in the day, even more so. So I think that would be something that looks like, because she's like, poor little girl, she's there, she's, you know, she uses her sexuality a lot to get where she needs to go. And I think that might not click with some people nowadays. But in the end, she didn't just use that. She was using that to her advantage, but that's not how she was going about the thing, really. Yeah. So it has two sides. And then what balances that out, I think, is that Tess Trueheart is not objectified at all. She's covered up all the time. She's very serious. So it's not like they have this, like, objectification of women throughout the whole movie. So I think it's fine. I think it goes well with the style, the movie, the source material. But I think some people might not find it as, you know. Well,
my opinion on that is I think that would be fine today, because her being objectified in the movie had a point. Right. Which was that side character, No Face, because that was like...
That's why she does what she does.
Yeah, you see Breathless, and it's like that's her persona of dealing with it, bottling it in and eating it up and all that stuff. But then her other character, Faceless, who's like the vigilante, you know, like a not so much a criminal, but just on the dark side of things, in the shadows. And all the hate and like anger that she was feeling from Breathless is like transmitted to that character, because that character was definitely devoted to the demise of Big Boy.
But also, you have to focus. think of the fact that that other character that she's portraying, that she disguises herself as, is a male.
It is perceived as a male, yes.
She's not being, like now you would see her as a woman, as a female, beating the bad guy. But in this case, she had to become a man to beat him. So there's something there that some people might see it, some people might not. It doesn't bother me. But I'm just saying that in our current society, that might be the reception. Is all. I don't think it didn't age well, but I think that's how it might be received.
And it might just be a matter of, keeping your feelings within the story.
Yeah, understanding when it's from,
and
too.
And not letting it overtake you and then taking it outside of the theater. Yeah. The film, and using it on reality. It's like, no, it's not gonna mesh well.
Yes. And another thing is that, because I don't know if it's because it's the 90s, I don't know if it's because it's older or what, but it is a little too by the book when it comes to storyline, following certain things, and it can be a little predictable in some parts where it's like, well, you kind of know where it's going.
Well, yeah. This is
but
true.
It's entertaining to watch anyway. Like, even if you know where it's going, you can kind of tell where it's going. It's still a really good movie, and it's still a good story. But that, again, with much more complex storytelling nowadays, that might be a little meh for some people.
So yeah, I agree. No, that's a good point. It is a good point. I do think the character, in the way she was treated and how they're showing that, there was a point. But it is also true, like, other people probably might not just really see that. Okay, so moving on. Who would enjoy this movie in today's audience? So that's kind of like an easy thing. It's a no-brainer in a sense. We already kind of mentioned it before. Personally, I think folks, in the comic space, particularly, would love this, especially Detective Comics. It would be something that everyone would fall in love with, like, straight out. I really think that. And then, Warren Beatty has on and off been creating specials for Dick Tracy since the release of this movie, believe it or not. Wow. There have, I think, the most recent one was either in 2014 or 2016. He had released a little side story short film of it. And then I think there was another one released either in 2023 or it's in production since 2023, but it hasn't actually come out yet. I can't recall. That's so cool. But yeah, I found that out in the filmography section and a little bit of some insight on the movie, and I was like, oh wow, it's they're still making stuff. And believe it or not, I think it's Warren Beatty too. He's been producing all this stuff. He's been putting some of his own money to do it, because he really liked the Dick Tracy character and the project. He really put a lot of himself in. He put a lot of himself into this movie. Yeah, it was really, really good. And then what else? Dick Tracy, especially going on. In addition, I really think going back to this movie and seeing some actors was kind of reminiscent, because you don't know. If you love actors and you kind of follow them, and especially the films that they've done before, and you don't say, for example, Al Pacino, and you never knew that he was in this movie, it's wouldn't you be like, oh my God, I want to go check this movie out and see, because it's something that's out of his realm, out of his his theme of acting and what he's interested in, because it's a little different. Granted, it's gangster oriented in some way because of the back cop and a mob boss style kind of thing. He has done that, but not in this fashion.
Not like that.
It's definitely not the same. It's definitely if Godfather would be the one thing the closest that you can say, but even Godfather was super dark.
It's different.
I was pretty real in the realm of a mafia life, I guess you could say.
Yeah, realistic.
So you have Al Pacino, and then you have William Forsythe, and you have Madonna. If you like those characters and you've loved their acting in all their films, I mean, that would be another reason to go and watch this. Dustin Hoffman is Mumbles. That was a unique character for Dustin Hoffman to play. It was really unique. It was just this mole side character who knows what do you call him? He's a snitch in a sense, or he just knows all the ins and the secrets of what's going on in the underworld. So he's mumbles because he mumbles all this stuff out, like he throws a single
say, like nobody can,
but no one can
so
understand him because he actually, when he talks, it just sounds like mumbling. He's like,
apparently he speaks too fast.
but he's
really,
yeah, it's what he just speaks so fast.
That's what it is.
That like it just his lips like they just move so fast that you hear it mumbles. So it's a true rip.
But yeah.
So I like that a lot. And then the last thing I want to mention, that people who enjoy movies these days, especially music, Danny Elfman did the music for this film, and it was amazing. Like when you hear the music and you're just kind of like at first I was listening to the music and I was like,
it's got a Batman in it.
Well, it sounds so familiar. Yeah, it does kind of have like the trumpets and the French horns and the trombones that they used in Batman. It's like got this
Christmassy.
Yeah, it's got this semblance. Like it's just I'm like, what? Why does it sound so familiar? And then later on, when you see the credits, it's all like music composer. It's Danny Elfman. You're like, Danny Elfman. You're like, what the?
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, that was amazing. I like that a lot. So that was something that I surprised.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And then like I think this movie, Dick Tracy, was Danny Elfman's second film ever that he composed music for.
After Batman,
because Batman was his first.
Seeing both so similar, the two movies.
Yeah, and they were kind of similar in a sense. And then like if you know a little about Danny Elfman, he was a rock star in a band called Oinko Boinkos back in the day. It was pretty popular, but they weren't like too crazy or anything like that. And so he never ever considered being a music composer at all until Tim Burton reached out to him and basically didn't take no for an answer and forced him to become a music composer. But lo and behold, he was great.
That's what he was meant
He
to
was
do.
so good that Warren Beatty noticed it and was like, I need him for the film.
Because he wanted the same feel.
He wanted
that dark
the same
comic book
music.
crime, gritty. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So what about you? What do you think about that?
I think that the type of people that would enjoy this are people who like you mentioned, comic book and other comic book movies. Again, we like you said, we mentioned this already. Like people who are into the Marvel movies or the Batman movies, especially like Batman, Joker, the darker, crime ones. And also, I think people who like stuff like The Boys. Like it's superheroes.
Amazon Boys.
Amazon Prime,
Video.
The Boys, about superheroes, and it's like it's dark. It's like it's dark, it's crime, it's real, it's shocking. Maybe The Boys is a little too much, but if you wanted to see something old schooly, like I feel people who are into that, seeing that kind of toxic egos, crime, oppression. Females, like strong females breaking through the oppression, like all of this stuff. Like I think people who are into those topics would find this movie interesting and entertaining for sure.
No, I agree. Actually, that's a good point. Thank you. Yeah, I agree. It's so listen up, people. If you're watching this video, go check this movie out for Christ's sakes, please. Now we're getting behind the scenes, just talking a little bit more, of because we talked about the history of the movie when it was coming up, who was chosen, the acting, what we thought about the film. And so this is like after the film, when it's released in theaters, what people thought, interview processes where you get to find out behind the scenes and, insights from filming that you otherwise would not know until the movie released. And then you started having interviews and recapping and asking questions about that. So throughout the internet, and finding some information, the ones that I found are what I am going to present to you guys. So first off, there was a director-writer background information. So this one is particular to Warren Beatty in a sense, is that he was originally hired as a producer. And then there was a director that was originally hired. His name was Walter Hill. So him and Walter Hill and Warren Beatty were basically butting heads because Warren Beatty wanted to keep the movie true to the storyline, to the comic, making it canon as possible, and Hill really wanted realism, so he wanted to just make it as real looking as possible to reality, especially at the time during the 1930s. The other guy, Hill. So because they didn't agree on anything about that and they kept fighting, Walter Hill departed, and he just said, never mind, I don't want anything to do with this film. So because of that, Warren Beatty stepped up and he ended up becoming not only the producer, but the director. So he took his
and the main
role
character.
And the main character. So he was the director, producer, and then the main character for the film. So that's like that's a nice little development, and that happened before filming. They were just doing all this stuff, trying to decide everything, with the committee and all. So that's kind of how that happened and how the movie was decided and started moving forward. So because of that, it gave Beatty full control to decide on everything, and he just basically needed approval from the investors so that they can fund the money and fund the film with money and everything. So that's something, right?
That's pretty cool.
For its filming location, visual effects, the use of matte paintings by Harrison Ellenshaw, who was the visual effects producer and his father at the time. They had exact color stylization across all elements of the film that was from the comic. So that should tell you how canon it is. It was really good. There is also very heavy prosthetic use, like we were mentioning before, for like Flat Top, and you have Big Boy and Mumbles. Well, maybe not Mumbles so much. Yeah, he has like a lot of wrinkles and stuff. Like he was kind of like he had like an acne problem, and he kind of have like those bumps going in and stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of heavy prosthetic use, and it was used great, like really good. So that's something that I really liked, and that was really nice about the film. Going on with some stories about casts and controversies. Not too many, but there is some interesting stories. So Al Pacino was Warren Beatty's first choice for Big Boy Caprice, which is really cool. There were some other candidates, believe it or not, and they were Harrison Ford, Mel Gibson, and then obviously some other actors around the time that were really big, good. And so Pacino ended up being the one chosen, and Beatty was like he's the first one, and I guess other people were producers, oh, well, what about this actor, what about that actor, and he looked into it, but in the end he's like, no, Pacino. So he's stuck with it, and that was great. That's cool. And then Madonna taking the role of Breathless, bringing in 1940s glamour, and then it ended up pretty much influencing fashion from there on. Like it's glamour, its sleekness, the chic, even though it was like black that she was wearing mostly. Silver. And so silver.
Just black, silver, and white.
And then there was some white in there, but so elegant. And that was like that was almost kind of like, it seemed it was influenced from Marilyn Monroe, but I couldn't find anything about that because it did seem kind of like that with the glamour and the hair.
I think just the fact that it was based on the fashion from like the 30s, 40s, it just has that look. Yeah. So her hair was very very Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe-ish, but
tighter.
Much tighter, yeah, much tighter. So her fashion did influence a lot in that movie, outside in the real world. So that was something. And then we have Al Pacino. Later on in the years, he had an interview with some program where they were talking about Dick Tracy at some point, and then Al Pacino ended up saying, oh yeah, that movie, it was great, it was wonderful. But one thing that he touched on in particular was that he said that on the set in rehearsal with Madonna, at some point she was wearing like a black, there's like a scene where she wears like a black covered coat. It's a long full body coat, fur collar and everything. And then from that scene, Al Pacino said that during that rehearsal, she ended up flashing him. It was a full body flash. She had nothing on.
I can imagine.
And just did that. Madonna. And Al Pacino, he was there. He did it for her, or she did it for him. And and he was really big at the time. It was just after Godfather 2 and everything. So and she was pretty damn big at that time too. Like really famous. So you had two famous people and just playing there and like playing around and all that stuff. So he ended up saying that. And he also mentioned in the interview that like if you ever see him out and like in publicity stuff or in other interviews, no, not even in the movie, he said like in real life, he's like, if there's any other point where there's an interview or you see me out where I have like the grinniest of smiles, it's most likely because he's thinking about that. That particular situation.
I can imagine he was just there behind the scenes, and then she's like, hey Al, and then when he turns around, like she just goes, I bet I can totally see it.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, so that's totally something I found out that was really interesting.
That's great stories from
and then going on with Al Pacino, more of his stories that he said is that he really found it something memorable, because of his intense love taps with Madonna in that film.
Oh yeah,
and stuff. There was a lot of like good acting and intensity within him and Madonna, because
Well, 'cause
they're
a
two,
couple.
they're two
she's
couples. It was like a forced couple. He
Yeah.
claimed her in this sense and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, that relationship between them was great. He said that he loved that acting with her. It was awesome. He even later is recalling in his memoir, Sonny Boy, that working with Beatty was a total bliss. That he said it was such a beautiful movie to make that he can't believe that it's not talked about that much.
Yeah, I can see that. I agree.
And that,
I can imagine.
yeah,
I can imagine. That must have been amazing.
and that's why we're here talking about it, you know, to try and help and influence others, because this is such a good movie. It really is. Other things, you know, about the behind the scenes is that the editing process. So originally the movie was 2 hours and 15 minutes long, but the chairman of Disney at the time didn't want that and forced Beatty to cut it down to 1 hour 45 minutes. So there's like at least 30 minutes extra that we could have seen. Hey, maybe it could have delved into a little more of the character development and the storyline and made things a little more seamless. But of course, you got corporate film companies or entities that have control and don't want to put the flow of money in unless you do as they say, in some sense.
Well, also you have to remember though, I think this is more based on the fact that back in the day, movies didn't go past 90 minutes. Like most movies in the 90s, except for the big ones like The Godfather and things like that, those would reach 120 minutes. But most movies were 75 to 90 minutes long.
Yeah, this is
like you would go to the video store and look at the VHS and it would say runtime 90 minutes and it was almost always 90 minutes. So an hour and 45 was already really long.
Yeah.
Nowadays
that's 105 minutes. So
it's 105 for this
90
one.
minutes to 105 minutes, 25 minutes more.
Yeah. So it's already longer, right? Than what was the norm. But nowadays we're used to movies being over 2 hours all the time.
All the time.
Every Marvel movie is more than 2 hours long, or at least 2 hours long. Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, like all these big blockbuster movies nowadays are over 2 hours, and we're fine with it. So I think this movie, if they were to re-release it, wouldn't it be amazing if they still have all the scenes and they could just release it in full
length? Like if they were to re-release the movie and insert the 30 minutes that were not in there, I'd probably be first in line on the opening day.
Oh my God, yes,
I'll go camp out and bring a sleeping bag just on opening day, just to make sure I get the first ticket and I can see it first, because I love the movie that much. And to see extra 30 minutes unseen, 30 minutes.
Yes, Mr. Beatty.
Mr. Warren Beatty.
If you want to re-release this, please, and you have this extra scenes in there, please add them. We're down. Everyone's down to watch more than 2 hours of this.
Hell yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, I never thought about that. Oh, that's so crazy. Okay. All right. So moving on to a little more positives of this film, because it's, you have to recognize it's not only the budget that it actually accumulated, which is freaking awesome, but it also won 3 Oscars, believe it or not. This movie won 3 Oscars, one for best makeup, one for art direction, thank you, Warren Beatty, and then one for original song, Madonna's song. Oh, I forgot what song it was. It was
I know, yes.
But it was like, it was a great song. It was probably one of the, songs that would influence other movies to have their own unique songs. If a singer, male or female, were an actor in that film, like, obviously you're going to be like, hey, you're going to be in this film. Can you write a song for it or something like that? Like it would have been great. I thought that would have been cool as hell.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the song, but I know which. It's the first song that she sings.
It's the first song in the club and everything. I had it
stuck in my head the other day too. No.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But it's over there.
Look it up. We'll see. We're just throwing it out there for you so you can know.
Oh, I think I.
So like it. Oh, did you? I wonder if you did actually.
Yeah. No, I didn't. Dang. No, I didn't write it. No.
Okay, yeah, no. So, other than that, it won 3 Oscars. Oscars, for Christ's sakes. But also, Al Pacino got a nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Didn't win it, but I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like, nominated in an Oscar?
That's great.
You gotta go back and see this movie, guys. If you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, you gotta see this movie. And we're gonna tell you where.
Well, wait. One quick parenthesis, just based on that. How many Oscars have any comic book based movies won recently?
Not
like
too
that's not
many,
even a thing. So
but
seeing something like this
yeah.
that is based on a comic book to actually win Oscars.
Yeah, like if anything, if you're winning awards like in the Oscars or Academy
like
or like
special
all that
effects.
stuff, yeah, it's like special effects, cinematography, you know, like
But for
just stuff
comic
like
book
that,
stuff
but not like not well, maybe makeup, but they don't even do makeup anymore. That's
what I'm
CG,
saying.
that's special
See?
effects now in most cases,
So that,
you
that
know.
says a lot, I think.
But then what you got art direction sometimes, you know, you got best director for like a superhero movie as an example. I think like one of the Avengers movies may have gotten it or something like that, or one of the MCU movies did. I can't remember, it's jumbled in my mind right now, but yeah, it's a good point. No, that's a really good point. I like that. So yes, when you go and watch it, think of that, look it up and see, because I mean, that'll just, you know, the proof is in the pudding. If you look it up and you see this one has 3 Oscars and the other superhero movies or comic based movies don't, it's like, come on, watch it. Okay, so moving on to where you can watch it. It's like, so I did some searching online. It is available on Apple TV. You can rent it for $4, or you can buy it for $5, which is pretty damn cheap. It's really good. It seems like a no-brainer to just own it,
get it,
check it out. Yeah. We watched this on Amazon Video or Prime Video. It is also available for renting and buying around the same price. It's like $4 for rent and $5 for to buy, which is great. And then Fandango at Home and Microsoft Store also has it for similar pricings. There is a DVD Blu-ray edition available. I think it's also a collector's edition from what I was finding out, which is awesome. So you can go and purchase that. I didn't see a price for it necessarily because it's different everywhere. But what I did find out is that you can find remastered prints of Dick Tracy, remastered prints on archive.org, and they're all like at 1080p, and you can rip them at 1080p. So that's pretty cool. I actually want to go check that out. I haven't gone over there yet to check it, but I do. And then last, it is free with ads on Tubi TV, so you can watch it there on Tubi TV. Straight up.
Nice.
So the ultimate question, does it still hit, and why? Yes, it does. I saw this movie as a child. Everything still holds up. The storyline is still relevant. The actors in the movie were becoming A-listers at the time, so they were getting their start. And I mean, let's just put it this way. That movie helped progress their careers. That's something that's like awesome that I really like about. Al Pacino, for example, you know, his biggest movie at the time was Godfather 1 and 2, how we mentioned it earlier. And Scarface. I think Scarface was just a few years before this one that he did. So, you know, you had those two similar kind of roles where they're kingpins in a sense. They both are part of or in charge of their own crime, their own syndicate in different areas. So Dick Tracy was definitely something that he was still crime boss, still part of a syndicate, but totally different world, different theme, different setting in a sense. It's really interesting. And so he tackled so far all 3 realms of like crime mob bosses, if you think about it, because you got an Italian structured, proper Godfather kind of crime boss, and then you have Scarface, guy let the money get to his head, loved power, let the power get to his head, and he had that kind of person. And then you had Big Boy, who had these ambitions, didn't want to fucking be a small timer anymore, fought his way, screwed over a guy, worked his way up, almost kind of like Scarface, and you know, and Ruthless. But in a sense, like he had these particular like attributes that were,
It's classy, definitely
it was a little classy. He kind of embodied, like in that character, you can see him embodying Scarface and Godfather into one. Like it was trippy. But also what I loved about it is that he had this comical touch to it too.
Yes.
Because of the acting, with the type of character that it was. Like I mentioned before, when he does his little mannerisms, when he's just like shocked and just like like he does it really good, the twitches and like oh yeah, it's so good. So for those reasons, I think it's great. I think it's really good, and you know, yeah, that's basically it. If Hollywood could back this up more, it would be great again.
I wonder actually if from what you're saying about Al Pacino, like I wonder if he pulled from here did he do Scarface after?
No, it was before.
Both of them?
Both Godfather and Scarface were before Dick Tracy. Yeah.
Oh, so he pulled definitely.
Yeah, he definitely pulled some of that. Yeah.
The comic. That's really cool. What was the question? Oh, does it hit? Does it hit still? Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I think after everything we've said, it's obvious that I think that it does. I loved it as a child. I have a lot of awesome memories tied with it. And I just think that it would probably do the same to a lot of other people. So yeah, I think it definitely still hits. Again, it fills that void or that desire for a balance of dark with comedy, with crime, with superheroes, with everything kind of together, mystery, the noir, the classiness, everything. It just has all sorts of stuff in it that I think it does still hit. I think, however, that because of it, it is a little bit niche, just like not everyone is into some of the other movies we mentioned today. Like not everyone's into Batman, not everyone's into Superman, not everyone's into the Marvel movies or any other thing. So I think it might be a little niche for some people, but definitely whoever's already into comic books and noir and mysteries, they'd be into this. So I think it'll still hit. But you do have to be ready to enter this world because it's not your typical crime movie.
It's not just the colors that are bold.
It's not just that.
Everything's pretty bold.
Everything is different. Everything is different from any other movie, crime movie that you've ever seen, whether it's comic book or not. So it is its own thing. And I think that is why it still hits. So for me, I think it still hits, and I think it would for a lot of people. Not everyone, but yeah, I think it still hits.
Absolutely. Wholeheartedly, I agree. And while it may not have hit in theaters when it first released, it became a cult classic.
Yeah.
It really did.
Absolutely.
It sucks that it's in that niche of classiness, or the classics in the sense with films that, it's like on the bottom pool of cult classic, because like another cult classic would be like Nightmare Before Christmas. Did horrible in theaters, but man, later on just skyrocketed. The cultness of it like became so big that it's a cult classic on the top level of cult classics. And then Dick Tracy, unfortunately, is on the bottom level. But maybe we can help bring that up,
Yeah. It's because people don't know about it.
Yeah, not that many people don't know about it. So hopefully this video brings awareness to everybody.
So share.
So yeah. And with that brings us basically to the end of this show. Thank you very much. Let us know what you think in the comments. Drop your suggestions for what we should watch next. Although I have another one that we're gonna watch next.
I already watched it.
Yeah, we already watched it. Actually, we actually had to rewatch half of it just because I think we fell asleep at the end. Not that it was bad.
We watched it late.
Yeah, we watched it late. Yeah, not that it was bad. We watched it late. But yeah, just be ready for that next time if you want. Maybe I'll indulge what it's going to be, but I'm going to leave it as a surprise for now. All right. So other than that, be aware for that, and I hope my wife Liz can be ready and available at that time. If not, the videos and its frequencies of being produced is going to be fluctuating. Because I really, truly appreciate her feedback about a lot of things.
Thank
Yes.
You. Thank you. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So again, leave a comment, like and subscribe, and then follow us on our social media. We're SunsetNerdVerse. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Blue Sky, YouTube, and Twitch. Although YouTube and Twitch I haven't done too much, but this video hopefully will change that, because I'm trying to actually tackle those two accounts. And then other than that, there's nothing much else to say.
No.
Is there anything else you wanted to say?
No, just looking forward to doing more of these. It's fun.
Yes, it is fun. I like it. I like the conversation. I like hanging out, and it's a lot of fun. It's definitely more engaging than writing it out.
Yeah.
An article.
And we can engage with
and then
viewers.
we can engage with you guys, the viewers. So thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we will see you guys next time. Yeah. All right. Bye, guys. Take care. Stay safe out there. All right. And keep watching and reading comics and whatnot. Do it all.